This is episode 22 of the Inland Empire Workers' Compensation Lawyer live stream podcast. My name is attorney Alexander Napolin. I'm joined by attorney George Abuado every Sunday at 3 p.m. discussing a new topic in workers' compensation law and employment rights. The information that we share on this channel is general in nature only. It's not legal advice. If you've been injured and you're looking for legal advice, dial our injury helpline at 844-984-8414 and request a free and confidential case evaluation. If you work in California, we encourage you to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on important discussions about your legal rights that will help you if you're ever injured at work. Also, please smash that like button because it helps feed the algorithm to share this video with other injured workers who may find its contents useful. Injured workers who are out there, who don't have lawyers, who are just coming into the process, they're looking potentially for a lump sum settlement. But if they're on Medicare, or they're close to being on Medicare, they're older, or they've had a Medicare disability claim, they need to understand that that can affect their lump sum settlement.
Of course.
And it can hurt them in the future if they don't do things right. So today's discussion is about how Medicare's interests affect workers' compensation lump sum settlements. So listen to this short 10-minute discussion that George and I have put together, and then give us a call if you have questions. Dial the injury helpline at 844-984-8414. So George, what's the Medicare Set-Aside? How does it work?
Yeah. So this topic is, it's something that's very interesting to our viewers, right? Because what they want to know is about a lump sum settlement. And if you don't know the types of settlements, please check out our video on that. It's very informative. If you have any more questions, obviously always reach out to us. But a Medicare Set-Aside, Alex, for our viewers that don't know what it is, that comes into play when you are negotiating a lump sum settlement, also known as a compromise and release. That's going to settle your whole claim. You received all the money up front. You no longer have access to future medical care through your workers' compensation claim. Now, that's all well and good. You're getting that money up front so you can handle your own medical care. But what happens if you go and apply for medical care through Medicare? And this is for your workers' compensation injuries. You can say, hey, I have pain in my back. I need help through Medicare. And it's a possibility they might not catch it, and they'll provide you with that medical care, but it's a possibility that they will. And when you settle your claim for a lump sum and you have to do a Medicare Set-Aside or it has to be submitted to CMS, the expectation from the insurance company, but mostly from Medicare and the government is that you'll use a portion designated through that Medicare Set-Aside for your medical injuries. If you don't, and you use your money for something else, and now you need medical care, and Medicare has to take care of that, and they find out, they will come back for a reimbursement. Okay, so we'll talk about all that. That was a lot. It was a mouthful. But what do we want to break down for our viewers first, Alex?
The first thing I want to point out is that we're dealing with Medicare, which is a federal program.
Correct.
That makes payments to medical providers for the elderly, people who are 65 and over, or potentially someone who has it through a disability claim through Medicare. It's not Medicaid or Medi-Cal, which many people here in California have. So we're specifically discussing the Medicare program, which is a federal program. So what George was saying is hey, you have to set some of your money aside from the lump sum settlement for your future care because workers' comp's not going to pay for it anymore.
Right.
So if you're approaching 65, if you're in your 60s, or if you've had a disability claim with Medicare through Social Security, this is applicable to you.
Right.
And it's going to affect how much money you receive and what you can do with it. So what happens with that money once it goes into the set-aside? Or who makes that decision? How much money gets set aside?
Well, a Medicare Set-Aside needs to be completed by a independent third company, right? This company, independent company, is going to look at all the findings, all the medical reports, everything that has value in your claim or that's very important in your claim, and make a determination about your future medical care. The way they do that, Alex, is by looking at all the medical reports, looking at the doctor's recommendations, looking at the age of the applicant or the injured worker, as we call them, and taking all those things into account, life expectancy, types of activities that they did, work that they did, all those things are taken into account. And then they determine maybe this person's going to need this much amount of money for their future medical care for the rest of their life, because they don't want Medicare to take care of that portion. Medicare is not responsible for that. They want the employee, injured worker, applicant, all the same thing, to take care of their medical treatment in the future. And since the applicant, injured worker, doesn't know about medicine, they're not a doctor, they don't know about what type of future medical care they might need, then the Medicare set-aside kind of breaks that down for them and says, this is what should be expected for your medical care in the future. So please put this money aside so that if you do need medical care, it doesn't come from Medicare. It comes from the money that was set aside specifically for your injuries.
Anytime there's an injury that requires medical care that Medicare may have to pay for, Medicare says you have to set aside some money.
Right.
You have to look at these different factors that George is talking about. Usually this is done by an independent company that looks at this stuff and then makes a decision about how much of the money that you're settling for needs to be set aside. So you don't have to be Medicare eligible. You don't even have to be eligible within a certain period of time. If it's foreseeable that this medical treatment will be paid for by Medicare at some point in the future, something has to be analyzed and set aside. And if not, then you could potentially be hit up for money later and Medicare might just deny payment.
Correct.
Now, they might not ever find out about it, as
Right.
you said, but Medicare has been sweeping the Workers' Compensation Board records and has been finding things. And it's something that if you're an injured worker and you're unsure if you're going to have your Medicare affected and the adjuster's just telling you, hey, settle for this and take this lump sum, it's probably time to call a lawyer and get some more information about, whether or not a professional who has done this before thinks you need a Medicare set-aside and what it looks like. If you're concerned, hey, I am older, I have been injured at work, and I'm on Medicare, the insurance company's offering me a lump sum of money, should I take it? What does this mean? How will it affect my workers' comp? It's time to call the injury helpline and speak with George Aguado or myself, 844-984-8414.
And I also want to point out, let's go through a scenario, right? Maybe you wasted all your money. Now you need help. Here's going to be the issue. You might try to go through Medicare, but as we just discussed, if they find out, they will come back for reimbursement because that money should have been there. Once you exhaust the money that was set aside, now you can go to Medicare. Now you can seek help because you have a Medicare set aside, and now you used it properly and you need more help. Now you can go to Medicare.
So it's a very serious thing that once you're given this money as a set aside, that you keep track of it very closely. And every single cent has to be tracked. And there are certain things that it can't be spent on. You might feel that, hey, I should be able to spend it on this service or that service, but it's only able to be spent on services that Medicare would provide.
What if they have a Medicare set aside, all the money was paid out, but now, even though they're Medicare eligible, they obtained another job and it includes full medical benefits and insurance? Does that affect anything at all, Alex?
Well, if you're going to have a medical insurance that's going to cover you in some other way, then you might choose to spend your
100%
Medicare set aside.
Yes. Now you have to remember that you might lose that insurance. So it's a very big risk. So we are here managing risk, telling you what's what, but ultimately it's your decision. That's the important part of today's video. This is your decision. Your attorney's not going to have overview about this. Our job is to tell you what those consequences might be, help manage your risk, and you make the decision that you feel is best for you and your family.
Getting that future medical care also for other secondary issues, which we've discussed on prior videos, which we'll put a link up up here to that video where we discuss, hey, what other issues could you have besides your orthopedic issue? Maybe you have been taking medications and you have an internal issue now. That also needs to be reviewed and put into the Medicare set-aside. Yeah. So having an attorney work up these other areas can also increase the value of your claim.
Right.
But maybe you don't want to go in and work those other areas up because you feel that you'll get caught stuck with no lump sum payment. It's a very complicated subject, but these are things that you need a lawyer to guide you on.
Talk to us. Yeah.
Absolutely. Give us a call. 844-984-8414, the injury helpline. Okay, well, that's it for the discussion on Medicare Set-Asides. If you have any questions, reach out to us. George, you have anything you want to add?
No, it's just great information, Alex, and I hope that this helps you or a family member or a friend. Please share this. Go on our YouTube, like the video, subscribe, and please share this with your friends and family on your page. This information could help out a loved one. If not yourself, someone that needs this information could be out there. So if you have any questions, reach out to us, and we're happy to be here.
Thank you for watching this video. We hope you find its contents useful. If you've been injured at work, dial our injury helpline at 844-984-8414. And if you're a worker in California, subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on important discussions that will help you if you're ever injured at work.